Hello everyone, Adam Steele here, and today I'm going to be playing with something very nerdy to do with mixing. These are from the 500 series rack. If you don't know what 500 series is, it's kind of rack hardware that you'd use in a studio, but it's in such a way that you can fit 10 of these little modules into one big fat rack thing. And they can be anything you want. They can be mic preamps, compressors, pretty much anything you can think of in terms of rack gear. But I've got something that's extra nerdy today. This is from the company HRK, and these are tiny little modules that can sound like a vintage console. There are compressors, there's all sorts of stuff, so let's dive in. So, full disclosure, this is not a paid video, and the guys at HRK don't even know who I am. I saw these a while back on their website. They were advertised to me through Facebook, and I thought they looked really cool. I'm very late to the game in terms of 500 series. The 500 series was designed by API. A lot of classic API desks have their preamps and equalizers and compressors in the 500 series format, so you can just drop one of their preamps or whatever it is in, and it takes its power from the connector, and the audio in and out goes on that, so you can just replace stuff nice and easy. And at some point, some genius must have gone, well, if you can replace API stuff with new API stuff, why can't we make our own? And so the 500 series kind of community and the whole kind of the last 10 years, the whole kind of fashion of having 500 series gear has popped up. And there are obvious benefits to this, that if you make rack hardware, quite often that means, well, every time you have to include a power supply, which is expensive. You have to include all the physical connectors. You have to include all these parts in your build, because it has to be a complete unit. And if somebody comes along and says, well, if your piece of gear, if the actual processing bit is quite small and can take a fairly standard power supply, why doesn't somebody else make the box that supplies the power, supplies all the different ins and outs? So loads of companies, one of whom is Midas, now owned by Behringer, but we won't talk about that. They have made these 500 series enclosures. The one that I have, the L10, can hold 10 different 500 series units, which means that in the space of 3 rack units, I can have 10 different things going on. I can make whole signal chains, I can make that into 10 preamps, I can make that into 10 compressors, however I want to do it. But today, I'm specifically looking at these little things from HRK. I think that's how you pronounce it, HRK? I hope that's how you pronounce it. Because these are a very clever little thing that they call colour modules. So this is one of their colour modules. This is the C544. And this is designed, so this slots into one of the slots in the 500 series rack. And on the inside of this, there are 4 little spots where you can add their colour modules. Now, by colour, we mean they've got circuitry that can make your sound like different things. I've got one I'm holding in my hand that they call the British console, which I'm guessing makes it sound kind of like a Neve-ish console. I've also got one here called the 80s tape driver, which does what it sounds, apparently. It won't sound exactly like a tape machine, but if it's in the rough ballpark, hey. I've got a different one, the solid state driver, which is apparently supposed to sound like an SSL desk going out through the output transformers. And there's the solid state console that I have as well. They also make little valve-based little channels. They've got equalizers in these little color formats. compressors even. They've got the LA4, which is like an LA3 and LA2A, but the more modern version, in one of these tiny little things. And so they also do different variations of this. They do ones with a super clean mic preamp, and then an option for a couple of colours. This one is not that. This one is designed to take a line level. So you would take whatever mic preamp you want, a mic preamp of your choice, and send the signal from that to here. Alternatively, you can send a ready-made line level signal from your DAW or whatever you have back out to these and use these as an outboard effect, which is what we're going to do today. My good buddy Scott Elliott from Chernobyl Studios has just released a new drum programming course, link in the description, and he's graciously sent me the separate stems for that, the vocals, the drums, and so on, and we're going to play around with that today, and we're going to put our colour modules in here and then send some sound out from Reaper through these modules. And where we've got little buttons to turn each one on and off separately, we can try different combinations. And there's also a knob for each one, which apparently, as you turn it up, it drives that module more, but then compensates for the level so you don't get absolutely deafened by pushing that particular piece of equipment. So the reason I've got so much of this stuff here is that I ordered 2 full sets of these. These are mono units, and so I ordered 2 stereo, one left, one right, and so I now have to choose what order these modules go in, because if I enable them all, then it will go through them in order 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think what I decided on was I'll start with the British console, so kind of like if I was recording through a Neve, then the 80s tape driver, so as if I was recording through a Neve to tape, which is exactly what I would love to do with guitars. Then onto the solid state console, because in an ideal world I would then mix that on an SSL, and then we've got the solid state driver because that's the output of that SSL console. So if they were all enabled, I wouldn't have to drive each one particularly hard, but I'm guessing, and this is a guess, that on guitars especially, that would be my dream combination. EQ aside, compression aside, that is, with a nice mic preamp, the ultimate tracking combination. But also if I've been sent super clean, super sterile guitars, or drums, or vocals, I can choose to run these in that order. So let's turn around, use the computer, and see what Scott sent us, and play around. Alright, so now I'm sat at the computer and I have the stems from Scott. And it sounds pretty busy. It sounds like this. Now, a few times there you might just have heard me little dips where I've been turning on this little plugin on the master, Reinsert. Now, Reinsert is, and you can see it here, a very cool little plugin that comes with Reaper that can use a hardware insert. You can automatically do delay compensation there, where you can work out exactly how long it takes so it can time correct. And if you need to level balance here, you can, and you can choose your inputs and outputs and turn on and off the whole thing on one single click, which is wonderful. What I was doing there is I now have the modules turned on with none of the actual colour preamps engaged. So everything is just blank. So what I want to do first is look at these rhythm guitars. Let's listen to these quickly. Let's see what happens if I turn on the British console, which does have a boost engaged. Might be a little too much. Let's hear that with the gain detent on that is at 0. Whoa, too much. Let's try to turn the volumes down all the way on them and see if that works. That should be on there for a start. Okay, so that's quite lively. I can almost hear it fizzing and fuzzing a little bit, which means we must be right at the limit there of what we can send, which is why I've used reinsert to send 8 dB less. I'm going to leave this playing. I'm going to turn on the tape and then the SSL, and we'll see how that sounds. Okay, what I'm going to do quickly is I'm going to grab the screwdriver, and I think I'm going to unplug those little boost jumpers on the British console because it's just too much. So, here we go. Alright, I'm back. So let's now try this British console without the boost, and let's see what we get here. Alright, so it seems a little quieter with the British console on. I don't want to drive them any harder. Let's turn on everything. The tapes, the lot. Tapes, SSL, SSL driver. Let's see how you sound. Kind of sounds the same. I'm going to drive a couple of these now and see if we can get something more out of maybe the tape driver or the SSL driver. Okay, awesome. So what I ended up doing is backing off the British console a touch and pushing all of the others a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to render this as a stem, and then we're going to use these same modules on the next track. So I'll see you in 3 minutes. All right, next, and this is going to be fun. I'm going to play with the drums. So let's listen to these and slap the reinsert on there, but by Alright, what I've settled on is everything apart from the British console here. It sounds quite distorted, but I think when the mix is together, that's just going to make it sound huge. Listen to this blast beat section with and without. The meters are telling me that that's got less level, but it feels louder. That's the power of distortion, everybody. So again, I'm not sure if this is going to be right, but I like the fact that I can play with it. So I'm going to export this and see if we like it. All right, so that's the drums and the rhythm guitars done, which sound brutal. Let's listen to the bass. Oh, this can absolutely have some tape love. Let's turn this on. All right, so the bass is all in. Everything's on. Everything's driven quite hard. If I turn this on and off, yeah, that's getting some real guts. So let's render this out. And then we'll listen to what we've got so far. And then I'll just rush ahead and we'll do the everything. Let's just have a listen to these 3 tracks together. Rhythm guitars, bass and drums. The originals against the new versions. Sounds way more brutal, and the funny thing is the levels, the actual levels on screen I can see are significantly less. So let's throw on the lead guitars. Yeah, let's give them a go of the everything as well. So this is leads. And let's just hit apply. I'm going to do all these one by one so that you're not having to wait around for me. Vocals? Let's have a look.
For which my soul extends, though my eyes have never seen its timeless majesty.
That sounds way more brutal. And the synths. I think I might run the synths without the British console again. And then the effects channels I'll just leave. They're fine as they are. Alright, so I'll see you back here in 10. Awesome. I've had to take the levels down of everything by 1.5 dB because it feels more brutal. But I'll just play you a little bit of the new version of the track and then a little bit of the original. It just feels like it's got less. Yeah, the guitars feel bigger. Everything just feels larger. It's really, really cool. So it's subtle, but it all adds up. And let's just add everything apart from the British console is on. Let's just send the whole mix through. Yeah, so the meters say there's less, sounds more, sounds louder, probably because it's more harmonically rich. And that stack up is making this sound huge. I think I might have to get more of these modules because doing this 2 at a time is taking a while. Although doing things like tracking guitars through that, making sure I'm not driving too hard, is really, I think, going to add something to anything that I track in here. So yeah, I think there's more coming. Hopefully you thought that was pretty cool for a nice little analog adventure. I know I usually mix in the box, but if I'm tracking, definitely I'll be using this kind of stuff. And hopefully more of the stuff that HRK have in the future, because they have like parallel processors, super clean mic preamps with the color modules attached. They even do like stereo modules, but I didn't want the stereo module because kind of the inputs were on the front and the outputs were on the back and it was a little bit messy looking. I figured I'd rather do 2 separate monos and run them left and right rather than kind of a stereo unit, which the 500 series can do that, but it's not really designed for it. So yeah, there's more to check out there, so go and check out their website. Link is in the description as per usual. And if you like the sound of the music there, check out Scott's drum course. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and thanks for the support on Patreon, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now. Hey everyone, that might be the end of the video, but if you fancy carrying on this conversation, we have a Discord server, link is in the description. We're also on Patreon, which is something you can really help us with. We also are on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Hot Pole Studios. See you there.